The Blue Devils are coached by Mr. Curtis Grant, and he's assisted by Mr. Nick Drillette and Mr. Rick Latimo and Mr. Chuck Nesbitt. Today's home game is the Portville Central School Panthers. The Panthers are coached by Matt Serene, assisted by Mr. Carl Hollaby and Mr. Bob George. Now let's see the starting lineups and the rosters for both teams. Beginning first with our visitors, Genesee Central School Blue Devils, beginning first with their non-starters. They line up on the third base line, please. Number 18, Blake Phelps. Number 2, Jake Clare. Number 15, Alex Graham. Number 22, Sean Bennett. Number 6, Ryan Ellison. Number 17, Sam Johnson. Number 21, Connor Keel. And number 9, Trevor Granger. Now the starting lineup for the Blue Devils. Leading off the play at left field. Number 3, Cody Delflore. And in the second position, playing third base. Number 10, Ryan LeBeau. And third, and pitching this afternoon. Number 4, Ben Kelly. Leading cleanup this afternoon's designated hitter. Number 8, Ranger Flint. Number 4, shortstop. Number 5, Jake Latino. And in the fourth position, playing first base. Number 11, Evan Welch. Batting 6 is playing right field. Number 16, Trevor Huddleston. Batting 7, the center fielder. Number 24, Jake Root. Batting 8, and catcher this afternoon. Number 12, Corey Valentine. Batting 9, playing second base. Number 7, Sean Ludwig. Today's home team, the Portville Panthers. Then starting with the non-starters, the big lineup on the first base. Number 7, Nick Burrows. Number 22, Joe Shaw. Number 7, Tyler Long. Number 6, Matt Wolf. Number 8, Luis Zig. Number 10, Cal Hollaby. Number 30, Todd Russell. Number 74, Josh Hall. Now for the starters, for the Portville Panthers. Leading off and playing third base, number 4, Tyler Reno. Hitting second and playing center field, number 3, Austin Slade. In the third position, catching this afternoon, number 33, Zach Wood. Cleanup and playing shortstop. Number 1, Justice Elliott. On the mound, for the Panthers are batting fifth. Number 21, Brett Marcella. In the sixth position, playing right field. Number 23, Brandon Dominga. Putting in the seventh position, our designated hitter this afternoon, number 29, Cameron Miller. Remaining four first baseman, number 15, Josh Watson. In the eighth position for the Panthers at right field, number 17, Alex Carr. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 2, Troy Iverson. The starting lineup for today's Far West Regional Championship game. And now, if you please all rise and join me in honoring our nation.
Hey, what do you guys got for password?
Check.com. We got our own website.
over here.
I called her yesterday. I know they had it. What did it say it was? That's the number right there? Okay, hold on a second.
Hey.
Got the
Good afternoon from Dietrich Park in Jamestown, New York, as we're ready to bring you the Class C Far West Regional here on TV.GeneseeSun.com. It is a beautiful day for baseball, a little bit cool, but no rain in sight, just blue, sunny skies. I'm Chris Graham alongside my partner, former slick fielding shortstop for the Blue Devils of Geneseo, Joe Ritigliano. And Joe, once again, here we are with another high-octane matchup for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, this is the latest we've seen the Blue Devils play probably in the last at least 30 plus years, and this is the biggest stage they've been to for any of these guys today, and this is the one. This is the one that gets you to the ultimate goal of going to the state tournament next weekend, and really these guys have done everything possible to get here. They played the best baseball we've seen from any team, and it's going to be exciting to see him play here the rest of the way.
Absolutely, this will be as you said, the biggest game that they've faced so far. Now, obviously, the Portville Panthers, that's who's opposing the Geneseo Blue Devils today. They are going to be the home team, as you can start to see them warming up right now. The man taking his warm-up tosses, the pitcher for them today, Brett Marcellin.
Yeah, Marcellin's a lefty, and the Panthers are in gray and a little bit of maroon there on the sleeves if you're watching at home. And Marcellin, really today, he's going to be able to do a few things we haven't seen thus far from opposing pitchers that have faced Geneseo, and that is hold runners on base because he's a lefty. Usually left-handed pitchers at this level kind of have coaches shying away from trying to get your runners moving because the move to first base can be very deceiving and very good at times, so we'll have to look for that early on. And the other thing for Marcellin, he needs to find a groove really quickly against this Geneseo ball team. We've seen so far Geneseo get cracking early on and hit the ball hard and deep and in places where defenses are not. And we've got a pretty deep park today, 325 down the left field line and 342 down the right field line. And who knows what it is in deep center, but we know nobody's hitting the ball out of the park today. Or at least if you do, you better have something behind it. So we're going to see here one of the pretty big pitchers duo, I would assume, with Ben Keller on the mound for Geneseo.
So here's the first offering from Marcellin, called for a strike, and we're underway. That pitch thrown to left fielder Tony Belfiore of the Blue Devils. The 0-1 offering. Hit in the air out to center field. And it's going to dunk in for a base hit. The center fielder seemed like he didn't get the best beat on that ball.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things, that's Austin Swain out in center for Portville. And the biggest thing here is that there's so much room behind Swain that it's very difficult for an outfielder to judge exactly how deep to play. And right there, that's a great piece of hitting by Tony Belfiore and putting the ball in play and just dunking it in. We're going to see a lot of bloop base hits. This outfield's very deep, which plays to batters that don't have a lot of power to their advantage.
First one to LeGroux, Ryan LeGroux, that is the third baseman for the Blue Devils, outside 1-0. Rest of the defense for the Portville Panthers: in left field, Alex Carr; center field, Austin Swain; in right field, Brandon Lunica; third base, Tyler Vino; shortstop, Justice Elliott; second baseman, Troy Peterson; first base, Josh Watson; and the battery of catcher Zach Wood and pitcher Brett Marcellin. As the count now 2-0 to LeGroux. Rest of the Geneseo batting order after him, it's the opposing pitcher Ben Kelly. In the 4-hole, the designated hitter Granger Flint. Hitting the first baseman, Devin Welch. 6-hole right fielder, Trevor Mothersell. 7-hole center fielder, Jimmy Root. In the 8th spot, the catcher, Corey Valentine. And rounding out the lineup, the 9-hole hitter, the second baseman, Sean Ledwith. As the count 2-1 to LeGrew as Belfiore takes his lead off first base. Marcellin looks over there. Certainly a guy that can run for this Blue Devils team.
Yeah, and that's the key right now for Marcellin is making sure that Belfiore stays put.
Ball's hit on the ground. Could be a double play ball. Shortstop boots it. They'll get one out at second. So the fielder's choice for LeGrew. Could have been a double play ball, but that ball bounced around on the shortstop, Justice Elliott.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a tough play there for Elliott at short, but you got to be able to make it. You know, that's a play that, you know, with Ben Kelly coming to the plate, you never know what's going to happen. He's going to hit the ball hard somewhere. So if there's nobody on at this point, it really plays the Portville's advantage with 2 outs. But right now, a little bit of a miscue, and now Geneseo still has a chance to put a run on the board early on.
First one to Kelly in there for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, and that looked like a breaking ball from Marcellin, and that's going to be key for Marcellin is that breaking ball, especially against some of the middle order hitters for Geneseo. So we'll see how that plays into this game.
Next one inside strike, quickly 0-2 to Kelly. Next one a little bit outside, 1-2.
Yeah, and good placement there by Marcellin, putting the ball in the left-handed batter's box. A waste pitch there, but a pitch that Ben Kelly's not going to be able to do too much damage on. So we'll see how he attacks him here.
The 1-2 to Kelly hits him in the back. So Kelly wears it and will head on down to first base.
I think that's the last person you want to hit, you know, in this situation with, you know, as much as Ben Kelly's capable of. You got to be wary if you're Portville. You know, obviously these two teams have not seen each other, and I don't know what kind of scouting they do have on them, but there's a lot of speed on the bases and pretty solid line drive hitter in Granger Flynn at the plate.
So here's Flint, the designated hitter. LeGrew's at second. He got aboard on the fielder's choice, and Ben Kelly just hit by the pitch. Flint fouls that one over the press box and out of play.
No, you're right.
And with 1 out, I wouldn't be surprised here if Coach Chuck Nesbitt and the Blue Devils get something going here, whether it's a little hit and run or maybe even a double steal as Granger Flint steps out. Probably a good move there by Flint to step out. Just trying to shake up the rhythm of the opposing pitcher, Marcellin.
Next one from Marcellin to Flint. Low. In the dirt. No advance from the runners.
And Flint doing a nice job there of just staying in the box and watching that pitch all the way in. Looked like another breaking ball from Marcellin that came in a little bit. He didn't turn and get out of the way and just kind of watched it and stayed in there the whole way.
Next one, Flint swings through an outside fastball. Count 1-2.
Big pitch here for Marcellin. I'd go right at Granger Flint if I were him and try and get that big second out with Devin Welch on deck.
A 1-2 from Marcellin, and another high fastball gets Flint swinging. Certainly not what you want with a runner in scoring position and only 1 out. A strikeout from Flint.
Yeah, and up to the plate now for Geneseo, you got Devin Welch, and Welch really is capable of putting the ball in play, putting it in somewhere hard, and also, you know, something that Geneseo hitters haven't seen really all year is a guy capable and having the command enough to hit his spots like Marcellin has early on. He's really putting the ball where he wants it. So Geneseo hitters are going to have to get him out of that rhythm.
First one to Devin Welch is a little bit low. Count 1-0. To the 5-hole hitter, the first baseman, Devin Welch. Ryan LeGrew stands out at second. He could be the first run of this ball game for the Blue Devils. Marcellin's the next one, a little bit outside 2-0.
Yeah, Marcellin's not, I mean, he's missing. He's not missing by much, but he is missing with the home plate umpires not giving him any help there, which we can assume will be the same way for Ben Kelly when Ben Kelly steps on the mound in the bottom half of the inning.
Next one outside, 3-0.
We got the count 3-0 right now, and you know, if you're Devin Welch, I think Coach Nesbitt is going to tell him to take here with 2 outs. Walsh as good as a hit, moving the runners along, and with Trevor Mothercell on deck, you got to keep threatening.
3-0 to Welsh, almost hits him, and he's inside, so bases full of navy blue as Welch takes the walk.
And Marcellin right now for Portville needs to really zone up, put a pitch in the zone and try and get the out here, however he can, really. And the other thing, you got to be careful. You don't want to allow another runner to reach base, because one that causes you're going to put your team down a run here early on. And also you have Jimmy Root on deck, who is a powerful hitter, and right now there's a lot of room for him to hit a ball that could go for 2 or 3 bases. So you gotta stop the bleeding here.
Mothercell hits it, and it is going to find a hole in short center field. LaGrew scores. Here comes Kelly. He will score, and it's a 2-run bloop single for Trevor Mothercell. What a great job of placement there by the right fielder.
Yeah, great job of placement right over the second base, just into the outfield there. And, it's great placement. The other thing is, this isn't Dwyer Stadium. This isn't Canandaigua or Keshequa or even Geneseo. Right now, the outfielders have to play back further because of how deep this park is. And a ball hit kind of weakly into the outfield is going to be a base hit most of the time. So we'll see how the coaches have their outfielders adjust. But that's going to be a major part of this game. And right now, Geneseo leads 2-0. Marcellin needs to stop the bleeding right here.
Next one is, second one outside. They count 1-1 to the center fielder, Jimmy Root. And, we've been watching him over these sectional playoffs. There's one thing Jimmy Root's looking for. He's looking for a base hit.
Yeah, and you got to be careful. And that left field line is wide open. That's a favorite place for him to hit the ball. So we'll see if he gets a pitch to hit here.
Swings through the next one, and the count 1-2 to Root. Runner out at second, runner at first. That's Mothercell.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Jimmy Root see a breaking ball here from Marcellin. He's been able to have a little bit of command over that breaking ball early on. And a pitch like that, if Root is on it, he's going to pull it.
Root swings through the breaking ball, and the inning is over, but not before Trevor Mothercell gets the Blue Devils on the board with a 2-run bloop single. The Blue Devils will head to the mound as we head to the bottom of the first inning.
And right there, we saw, a Blue Devil team that needed that inning. When you come out, you're on the bus for 2.5 hours down to Jamestown here, and you throw on that navy blue jersey or royal blue or whatever you want to call it. You got to be able to have a great top of the first inning, because that's going to be able to get you started, get you going. And really, the biggest thing about a great start like that offensively is you give your pitcher plenty of room to work with. And we know Ben Kelly's capable of shutting it down from here, but I'm sure that a little more offensive help will make this even more of a potential win for Geneseo.
Absolutely, and as Ben Kelly begins his warm-up tosses, we'll bring you the Geneseo defense, brought to you by the Village Tavern in Geneseo. In the outfield from left to right, it's Tony Belfiore. In center field, Jimmy Root. In right field, Trevor Mothercell. On the infield, third to first, it's Ryan LaGrew, Jake Fatimo, Sean Ledwith, and Devin Welsh, and the battery of Corey Valentine, and the starting pitcher, the senior right-hander, the strike-throwing machine, Ben Kelly.
Yeah, you know what? One of the things I'm kind of interested to see, thus far is will Ben Kelly have the command we've seen him really have against pretty much the last 3 games? I'd say he had a lot of great command against Cuba Rushford in the semis. In the finals, he had an unreal game against Red Jacket with those 18 strikeouts. And then he came in and absolutely shut Minders down on Saturday in Canandaigua in that big game, which really put Geneseo, brought them here and put them on the map for possibly going to the state tournament. So this is going to be a big showing here. The first inning is going to be key for the Geneseo Blue Devils in the bottom half. If they can get a 1-2-3 inning, it's going to help them kind of feel a little more confident after those 2.5 hours on the bus, and possibly get going more offensively.
So Tyler Vino, the leadoff hitter for the Portville Panthers, steps in. The third baseman takes the first pitch from Ben Kelly for a ball, 1-0. Kelly's next offering, swung through, 1-1. Next one from Kelly, another inside fastball, swings through it, 1-2.
Something we're seeing here in the first couple of pitches from Ben Kelly is he's hitting his spots as well. He's really painting that inside corner and forcing Vino to take some cuts at it, and he's not been able to make contact yet.
Breaking ball over for a strike, and Ben Kelly, where have you heard this before? He strikes out a batter.
Well, throughout these playoffs, Kelly's been unreal as far as striking batters out and putting his team in a position to win the ball game, and that's really been the main focus. Obviously, you really want to win the ball game, but having a pitcher play as well as he has in the past couple of games is really helpful, and gives your offense the confidence that your pitcher's very strong and isn't going to allow a lot of hits or allow a lot of runs.
So K's for days, Kelly leaves off starts right where he left off in the Canandaigua game, and if you want to, not the Canandaigua, Minders in Canandaigua, and certainly Red Jacket in Batavia if you want to go back that far. As he strikes out the first batter as Austin Swain steps in, the center fielder for Portville. And he's ahead in the count, 2-1. The next one from Kelly. Fouled back to the screen. Currently hangs at 2-2.
Yeah, and that's some contact there, which will give Swain a little bit of confidence here. But with a 2-2 count, I think we're going to see another fastball from Kelly. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the breaking ball, but I'd go back fastball for him.
Fastball is hit in the air and into left field for a base hit. And you know what? That's a very good approach there by Swain. You don't want to do too much against Ben Kelly. He's a power pitcher. He got something over the middle, drove it into left field, took it the other way. He didn't try to do too much in that at bat.
Yeah, and that's going to be key. You see a lot of hitters trying to do too much. You see him trying to, rip the cover off the ball. And against a guy like Ben Kelly, you just kind of give it a little bit of a piece, and that ball's going to go. So big one-out hit there for Portville. And now they've got a runner on base. We'll see if they test catcher Corey Valentine here.
So here's Zach Wood, the catcher, the 3-hole hitter for this Panthers team. He takes a ball high from Kelly, 1-0.
Big hole on the left side right now for Wood if you were able to pull a ball.
Next one's a strike from Kelly, 1-1.
We're seeing something interesting from the Portville third base coach. He's yelling out numbers in between pitches instead of possibly signs with his hands, which is interesting.
Next one is from Kelly's a little bit up, 2-1.
So Portville using verbal signs instead of physical signs.
2-1 from Kelly is swung through by Wood, 2-2. You ever see that during your days?
Nope, not at all. I tell you what, I've seen some pretty interesting signs, but never verbal. It's tough to yell over that Geneseo dugout. I gotta say, it looks like all the Portville players have arm wristbands with numbers.
Swain takes off. Kelly strikes out Wood. Swain slides in safely with a stolen base. Might have been a hit and run there.
Yeah, good work there to get moving for Austin Swain there, taking away the possible force play at second now if the ball's hit. But I'm surprised actually. We're seeing every Portville player has what you see really what most NFL quarterbacks wear, which is the wristband with the signs on them. I haven't seen that. We've never seen that.
So Swain now out at second base as Justice Elliott, the shortstop, steps in. The count quickly 0-2 against him. Ben Kelly's firing in some strikes and trying to get out of this inning unscathed.
Yeah, I'd imagine we're going to see a breaking ball here from Kelly. Probably a little bit low and in the dirt. Maybe a little bit of a waste pitch. And Elliott's going to get time here for Portville.
Kelly, just one of the many pitchers we've seen on this Geneseo team that just gets it and throws it.
When he gets in a rhythm, you got it. You have to find some way to get him out, whether that's asking for time or getting a base hit or something. It's really difficult to get him out of his rhythm.
The 0-2 from Kelly, fouled over the first base dugout, not a play.
And Ben Kelly does not like to waste pitches. He's mostly efficient with his pitches, so I'd imagine he's going to go right after Elliott right here.
And the 0-2 to Elliott, fouled over the first base dugout again, and we'll do it one more time with the count hanging at 0-2. The 0-2 offering from Kelly. Little bit outside, 1-2.
Yeah, and
is it a good or a bad thing that we can hear Granger Flynn yelling "rock and fire" all the way from up here in the press box?
I think it's a good thing. That's great for Geneseo. You got to have somebody yelling out there. You got to have somebody getting your team up. And that was a really close pitch from Ben Kelly. Looked like a slider, just missed. Let's see if we can get him here.
1-2 jams him, hit on the ground down to LeGroux. He throws over to Welsh, and the inning is over. You want to talk about a jam job? That's what Justice Elliott just got. More importantly, the inning is over. The base hit goes for naught for Portville, and after an inning full, Geneseo leads it 2-0.
Yeah, and right now, Geneseo really needed that inning to be over as fast as possible, get out with a lead. Now a chance to add on. If you can add on right now, at this point in the ball game, it's going to be huge for Geneseo's confidence. And for Ben Kelly, I mean, obviously we know that Ben Kelly's a big game pitcher. We've talked about it several hundred times probably. He's played in 8 sectional final games, and the kid just produces when it comes down to it. So it comes to a point. If you're Portville, you don't know Ben Kelly well enough. But for us, we know up here that if you give Ben Kelly too much of a lead and you're the opponent, really coming back is a really tall order. And right now, if you're Brett Marcellin, you've got to take care of the bottom of the order of Geneseo. You got to get out of there. If you allow the bottom of the order on base, it's just going to cause more issues for you when you get up to the top of the order once again, because we saw the top of the order for Geneseo, be relatively on Marcellin's fastball. So we'll see here if Marcellin has made any adjustments so far, but it's going to be key for Marcellin to get out of this inning 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are certainly some adjustments that he's going to have to make, because as we talked about it, and we feel like you said, we talked about it ad nauseum about how good Ben Kelly is when he gets the lead. Already staked to a 2-0 one here, only through an inning full. So certainly Marcellin wants to make the adjustments to make sure that the Blue Devils don't put any more points up on that board.
Yeah, with a 2-0 lead, really, it's obviously not the end of the world if you're Portville, and if you're Geneseo, it certainly doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying to score runs. But 2-0 with the guy that's on the mound for Geneseo right now is, with the exception of the York game, which is the quarterfinals, Ben Kelly has not allowed more than 1 run. I think the only run he allowed was actually
It was on a wild pitch.
Yeah, in the Red Jacket game. But in the quarterfinals, he allowed 3 runs, and I'm not even sure. I think only 2 of them were earned, or maybe even 1. So, kid doesn't give up a lot of runs, and he throws a lot of strikes. So, that's a lot of confidence.
Marcellin's first one was nowhere near the catcher, goes right to the backstop.
Yeah, you look there as Zach Wood just kind of watched that ball go through the left-hander's batter. I mean, that would have hit a left-handed batter in the back probably.
Valentine hits this one out to the second baseman. Second baseman fields it. That's Troy Giberson, excuse me. And he puts Valentine away for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and a big first out there for Marcellin and Portville. And, you know, right now with Geneseo number 9 hitter Sean Ledwith at the plate, it is deceiving. You know, the 9 hitter doesn't tend to have as much production as this guy has. Sean Ledwith has been hitting the ball well, and that's why he's in the batter's box right now for Geneseo.
Mostly the defensive specialist through the regular season, but has certainly gotten a couple of games to start recently during these playoffs.
And he's hit the ball well, and he's hit the ball hard. We saw him pick up a couple of hits against Minders and also a couple of hits against Cuba Rushford. He falls behind there. 0-2 on the couple of breaking balls from Marcellin.
And Marcellin's done a good job so far through this inning with Valentine and Ledwith getting ahead of hitters. Trying to get quick outs and a quick inning. Next one's a little bit outside, 1-2.
And it looks like that breaking ball from Marcellin is going to be the key tonight because Geneseo hitters haven't really been able to get a good swing on it yet, so we'll keep an eye out for that.
Next one, Ledwith hits it on the ground down to third. Thrown across the diamond and over the first baseman's head. Ledwith trips going around first base. Now he'll stay at first.
And we're going to tend to him. He looks a little bit frustrated, but that's still big though for Geneseo that they could get a base runner with just one out, and a little bit of a miscue there for third baseman Tyler Vino over there for Portville, but not much you can do about that, and just really just bounce back and get the next one. But Tony Belfiore up at the plate, and he has that bloop single in the first, so another chance for Geneseo to get going if Belfiore can pick up his second hit of the day.
So it's an error on the third baseman, Vino. Ledwith now over at first for Belfiore. As my partner said, the bloop single back in that first inning. He takes the next one high, or takes the next one high, and the count 1-1 to the leadoff left fielder for the Blue Devils.
And you got Ledwith on first. He really probably won't be in motion here, but maybe a hit and run somewhere.
Belfiore smacks that one into right field, and it's a base hit. Ledwith makes the turnaround second, heading for third, and he'll get there. And his runners on the corners for the Blue Devils, and only one out for the third baseman, Ryan LeGrew.
Yeah, and we're going to see, I would imagine, we're going to see Tony Belfiore on the move here as I'm taking a look down at Coach Chuck Nesbitt. And not on this pitch, but we will probably see him get moving within this at-bat.
So here's LeGrew. He got aboard on a fielder's choice in the first inning and scored a run on the 2-run single from Trevor Mothersell. An RBI opportunity for him if he can just make some contact here. Infield is playing back as they're looking to turn a double play. First one hangs in a little bit inside, gets away from the catcher, not far enough for Ledwith to come on home. Yeah, and right now I think, if you're Coach Chuck Nesbitt, I'd get Belfiore moving here. You want to take away the possibility of a double play and also really just open up the right side for a base hit. LeGrew swings through the next one, 1-1. LeGrew, another guy in this Blue Devils order that has done very well since getting put in the 2 spot. Takes that one high, 2-1, was batting towards near the bottom of the order in the regular season. It's kind of got moved up late in the regular season and through playoffs and has produced out of that 2 spot. Yeah, it's been huge for Geneseo, and throughout sectionals and now into the state tournament, he's really played very well. Once fouled over top of the press box and out of play. Count 2-2. Yeah, with this window open, we got a shot. We got a shot. We might be making some plays up here, so. It's we don't have a glove, so it'll be some bare hand picks. Oh yeah, absolutely. 2-2 offering is smacked into left center field. Left fielder has a beat on it and puts the ball away for the second out, and Ledwith going to come in to score. So sacrifice fly there from LeGrew. Geneseo takes a 3-0 lead. Yeah, and I think someone wasn't really talking to shortstop Justice Elliott there. He probably had a play at the plate on Ledwith, but unfortunately he did not attempt to throw to the plate there. But if you're Portville, one of the infielders or the pitcher or the catcher, someone's got to be yelling to Elliott that he had a shot at Ledwith. Nonetheless, you got
couple runners on. Or
Kelly
couple runners
smacks the
in.
ball into left field, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. And LeGroux, Belfiore, who was running on the play, gets to third base. Kelly now advances to second on that throw into third base. The Blue Devils are really cooking here in this inning.
Yeah, and you know what? This is pretty huge for Geneseo. And like I said, the outfield is forced to play back, and that's going to give way to a lot more, bloop singles and stuff like that. Texas leaguers down the line. So really, Geneseo's got a 3-0 lead right now. Marcellin needs to stop the bleeding right here and get the out with Granger Flint. You don't want this. You don't want to give up a base hit right here and allow 2 good runners to score.
So second and third, Flint swings through it. Count 0-1.
And a base hit will score Ben Kelly from second. He runs well, and with 2 outs, runners will be moving on the pitch or on the hit. Sorry.
And the 0-1 to Flint. Hitting the air, and it's going to be over the third baseman's head and into short left field, just past the edge of the infield. Ball's fielded there by the shortstop, but 1 run is in. That's Belfiore, and he scores on the Granger Flint RBI single.
That ball was not hit deep, and it wasn't hit all that well, but it just got over the third baseman's head, and that was Tyler Vino at third, and he was playing in on the grass, and Flint was able to take advantage of it. Coach Nesbitt holds Ben Kelly at third, though, so with Flint on first, we got a first and third situation for Geneseo with 2 outs. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of movement here.
Breaking ball over from Marcellin, quickly count 0-1. Certainly the Blue Devils, they brought their bats on that yellow bus that they took here to Jamestown. 5 hits through the first 2 innings. Welsh sings through that 0-2.
Yeah, and you hear the term bus legs. When you take a long bus ride to play a game, whether it's a basketball, soccer, or whatever sport it is. But bus bats were not the case here today. Geneseo's really been able to break those bats out and get a couple of 5 hits early on in 2 innings is huge for their offensive production, and it says a lot about what's going to happen the rest of the game.
That one is outside of Welsh, the count 1-2, and here's Marcellin's 1-2 offering. Outside once again, 2-2.
And you're a little bit of sass there from catcher Zach Wood. He didn't like that call, but Marcellin's definitely missing off the plate and almost in the left-handed batter's box. And a lot of times, umpires aren't going to be giving that call when you're not hitting your spots.
Next one from Welsh is fouled down the third base line.
And Devin Welch has been pretty solid today in staying alive in counts where he's down to his last strike. So we'll see if he can continue that here.
Welsh foul tips that one into the catcher Zach Wood's glove, and the inning is over, but not before the Blue Devils put up 2 more runs, RBIs from Ryan LeGroux and Granger Flint. And after an inning and a half, it's the Blue Devils 4, the Portville Panthers nothing.
And so far, if you're watching at home, we've got Geneseo out in the field right now, and here for the bottom of the second inning. For Portville, they really have to work on just getting the ball in play and being able to move the runners along, which is difficult against Ben Kelly, and it's difficult against the Geneseo defense, which has played pretty well in the past couple of games. And so right now, Portville's going to have to get something going, and they really need to take the approach that Austin Swain had in the first inning when he just poked the ball to left field for a base hit and was able to get them, their first hit of the ball game. But it's very difficult to get anything on Ben Kelly when Ben Kelly's throwing well and hard. And I don't know what the pitchers are like in Section 6, but most teams in Section 5 don't see a guy like Ben Kelly very often.
Yeah, and we certainly talk about with the teams that we've had this year, the games that we've seen, of having a number 1 starter. And I think, there are teams that have very good number 1 starters, but Ben Kelly is a legitimate ace. He is a guy that you feel very confident when he goes out to the mound and gets a lead that he's going to be bringing you back a W.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, really, that's the huge thing, is that confidence that you have in your starter or in your, you know, in your ace, in this case for Ben Kelly. And that, I mean, that's really the truth, is that if you have the confidence that you have in a guy like Ben Kelly, then it's difficult to have him go out on the hill and not pull up a win. And, you know, we did see Ben Kelly did not get the win against Holly in the first game of the year. That game was at Myrtle Beach. He had something like 10 or 11 strikeouts, and they only lost like 2-1. So really, Geneseo, you know, with Ben Kelly on the hill, he is their best chance. He gives his team probably one of the best chances to win a ball game.
So Brett Marcellin, the opposing pitcher, will lead off the top of the second inning, or excuse me, the bottom of the second inning, and he is dealing with a 1-1 count currently. As Kelly heads back to the mound. The 1-1 offering from Kelly. Foul out of play. 1-2. And the 1-2 offering from Kelly. Swing and a miss from Marcellin. And Kelly sets down his fourth batter on strikeouts.
Yeah, and when the Blue Devils are throwing the ball around, they accidentally throw the ball into right field, but it happens sometimes. So
always good to do that when no one's on base.
Yeah, or no one's looking usually, but that doesn't happen in the ballpark.
So here is the right fielder, Brandon Munica. He takes the ball outside, 1-0.
Yeah, and we saw Austin Swain, the second batter of the first inning, get a base hit on a good pitch from Ben Kelly. Let's see if Munica can do some of the same.
Hits it on the ground. This will be Ledwood jumping in front of Fatimo. Throws over to Welsh, and Munica is retired.
That ball was hit pretty hard, and it just kind of took a couple of hops, and Ledwith had a little bit of trouble getting it out of his glove, but not enough trouble that Munica could reach. So good work there by Ledwith to get that big second out of the inning. And now up to the plate is the designated hitter Cameron Miller for Portville. And if Ben Kelly can get the out right here, you got to have a lot of confidence if you're Geneseo.
Breaking ball is over for a strike, 0-1. I got ahead of myself already. Ben Kelly only has 3 strikeouts. I had him for 4, so only 3 Ks so far through an inning and 2/3. As Miller swings through that one 0-2, and he might be a strike away from picking up that.
I was just about to say, you know, when you make a mistake, you know, broadcasting a game, you say, you know, he's got 1 strikeout more than we said. Ben Kelly's very forgiving. He makes you look right, you know, a couple of minutes later.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, but as you said, usually can help you out if you make that mistake. As the next one's high, and the count 2-2 to the designated hitter Miller.
I mean, I'm sure he's going to get his 4th strikeout eventually. You know, who knows if it'll happen here or in 2 innings.
Next one's a little bit outside again.
I almost think that Ben Kelly, you know, he has a way of just kind of playing with his food almost. You know, if he's preying upon the batter, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gasses him up right here.
Next offering from Kelly, strikes him out on a breaking ball, and yeah, maybe he was just toying with him, and now he can actually officially put that 4th strikeout in the books as Ben Kelly ends the bottom of the second, and the Blue Devils lead it 4-0.
And Geneseo up 4-0, coming to bat here in the top of the 3rd. And what more do you want if you're Geneseo? This is the exact position you want to be in. It would be nice, you know, if you're a Geneseo fan, they could pick up maybe 1 or 2 more runs here, maybe even 3 or 4. If you put up a good number here, you know, it makes things very difficult for Portville to come back. You know, you can already see, you know, the possibility that a couple runs here could possibly, you know, throw Portville's morale down the drain and really put Geneseo in the driver's seat to win this ball game.
Yeah, certainly you can already tell that it seems that Ben Kelly is locking in on his way to having another solid start here for the Blue Devils. So, you know, certainly Marcellin is looking up at that scoreboard and seeing that the Blue Devils have put up 2 in the first 2 innings, respectfully. So he knows he's got to put up a goose egg in this 3rd inning just to keep his team in there.
Yeah, and we saw with Minders on Saturday with their starter Jared Coffey. He was able to do quite a bit with his ability to hold Geneseo off the board for most of the game. Obviously, Geneseo trailed, I believe, 3-2 for most of the game, but they were able to come back. And you know, the idea here is that Marcellin really needs to do that just so his offense can kind of regain their momentum. And right now, it's not an easy place to be in if you're Portville. Yeah, your offense hasn't really been able to get anything going, and Geneseo's offense has. So we'll see if Marcellin can put up a goose egg, but Trevor Mothersell and I believe Jimmy Root and possibly Corey Valentine coming up this inning, the prognosis doesn't look so good.
So here's Mothersell, the right fielder, 2-run single back in the 1st inning. Takes a strike from Marcellin, 0-1. And the next one from Marcellin, a little bit outside, 1-1. Mothersell right-handed batter's box in that exaggerated crouch.
Yeah, we love to talk about that because somehow it works.
Mothersell swings through it 1-2, because if it didn't, we wouldn't talk about it at all.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, that's one of the things, is that some of the odd things in baseball somehow work. You look at Mothersell's hands are almost over the plate, actually.
Swings that one, knocks it down the 3rd base line, but foul.
And that was a great piece of hitting there by Mothersell to take that inside pitch and just kind of go with it a little bit and bring it down the 3rd base line just outside the bag there at 3rd. And right now, you know, you're in a 1-2 count. Mothersell's a tough out. We'll see if Marcellin gives him a heavy dose of a breaking ball here.
A little bit too much time there for Marcellin, and Mothersell steps out.
We'll see if he kind of threw off Marcellin's momentum there by calling time.
And the 1-2 pitch to Mothersell. Swings through it, foul tipped. Catcher could not hang on, so we'll do it again.
And right now, if you're the batter in this situation, whether you're playing for Portville or you're playing for Geneseo, anytime you foul off 3 or 4 balls in a count when you're down 1-2, it makes you feel a lot more confident about your ability to keep fouling them off and getting to your pitch to hit.
1-2 is hit over the mound, fielded there by the shortstop, throws across to 1st, and off the 1st baseman's glove. That's Josh Watson. It went off his glove, so Mothersell's going to be safe at 1st.
And I think he actually beat the throw as it was. It looked like his foot hit the ground, hit the bag just as Watson, just about a second before Watson, the ball went off of Watson's glove there. So Geneseo gets a base runner early on in the inning, and once again, Jimmy Root at the plate with a chance to do some damage with a duck on the pond.
So an error on the 1st baseman Watson on the dropped catch. Here's Jimmy Root, bunts, fouls it back. That's going to be out of play, jabbed at it a little bit, and the count 0-1.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Coach Nesbitt had Root bunting there. But we will see if he has him bunt again here as Root steps out of the box and takes a look down at Coach Nesbitt. I don't think he got a sign there, so.
Mothersell takes his lead from 1st, and Root swings through the breaking ball. Count 0-2.
Root is pretty far ahead of that breaking ball. It's a tough pitch to hit with the change between how the velocity of the breaking ball and the velocity of Marcellin's fastball. So,
and is that what Nesbitt's telling him there, to maybe just stay back on it a little bit more?
I would imagine. I was expecting a few less. I was expecting that conversation to go a little bit quicker, but
next one, Root is able to get the bunt down. Marcellin will throw over to first, and a good sacrifice bunt to get Mothersell over to second.
And that's pretty surprising. That was a 2-strike bunt by Jimmy Rutan. A really nice job there to get it down and get the runner over. You don't see that quite a bit with a chance, you know, with 2 strikes, if you bunt the ball foul, it's a strikeout. So Root with a nice job there to put the ball in play and get the runner over. And now with Corey Valentine at the plate, another hard out. Chance to bring another runner in for Geneseo.
So Mothersell will take his lead from second base, and Marcellin's first offering to Valentine is hit up in the air. First baseman calling for it, and Watson will put it away. The second out of the inning. A pair of pop-ups already for Valentine. Popped out to second back in the second inning.
And now stepping to the plate for the Blue Devils, you got Mr. 9-hitter Sean Ledwith, and he was able to reach on the air by Vino in the bottom or top of the second rather. So a chance here for Ledwith to maybe get an RBI with a single.
Ball is smacked into left field for a base hit. Mothersell is going to round third. They're going to hit the cutoff man short. Going to be a play at the plate, and Mothersell is out. Nice relay throw from Justice Elliott to the catcher, Zach Wood, and Mothersell is nailed at home.
And that was a
Geneseo rally goes for that.
Yep, and that was a great throw by Elliott, and that ball just wasn't hit hard enough. I'm sorry, it was hit too hard. It wasn't hit soft enough to really get the runner in from second, and tough play there for Mothersell to try and get to the plate and get in there safely, but great tag there by the catcher, Zach Wood. Yeah, and I mean that was a great relay from the left fielder Alex Carr to Swain, or I apologize, to Elliott and to Wood, and a great throw. I mean that throw could not have been any better from Justice Elliott to the catcher Zach Wood.
I think the thing that goes unnoticed in a play like that too is you're going to need 2 good relay throws. You're going to need the left fielder to come in on that ball quickly and make a good throw to the cutoff man, and then the cutoff man's got to make a good throw to home plate. Portville got 2 of those plays right there.
Yeah, and that was huge. And now that really that shifts the momentum a little bit. You know, you get a great defensive play, but you know, the one thing that you're going to have happen here if you're Portville is you really just got to get the bat on the ball. And they haven't been able to do that, you know, so far. And Ben Kelly's got 4 strikeouts out of the 6 batters that he has faced. So, I'm sorry, out of the 7 batters he's faced, but out of the 6 outs, he's got 4 strikeouts. And you know, you got to be careful if you're Portville. You need to be patient. And if you're gonna take a swing at a pitch, putting it in play is your best chance to get your team back in the lead. Because Ben Kelly does not walk a lot of players. A lot of batters, and we saw in the last inning with, I believe it was Cameron Miller, the designated hitter. Kelly was up 0-2, fell behind 3-2 in the count, and then Kelly came back and struck him out on the next pitch. He's very, very confident, even with a 3-2 count or a 3-0 count. Ben Kelly is confident he's going to throw strikes, so you got to be up there ready to swing.
So here's Alex Carr, the left fielder, left-handed batter, to lead off against Kelly. Tries a bunt, fouls it down, count 0-1. Not a bad idea against Kelly, as you said. He's been getting outs at a premium today, so maybe just try to make a little bit of contact on the bunt and get an early base runner.
We've seen some interesting
swinging through that one is Carr, the count 0-2.
And that was dangerous because you had Sean Ledwith, the second baseman, charging. He was almost in front of Carr, and he went up to swing at that one, and you saw Ledwith get out of the way there. So 0-2 pitch from Kelly.
That one's fouled out of play. That's a play there for Ledwith where you see your life flash before your eyes.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that actually, you know, that's dangerous. And obviously, you know, the fielder knows what they're getting into, but the batter, you know, could use a little more discretion. You know, you don't want to hurt anybody. This is, yeah, I know it is a competitive game, but you don't want to do anything that could cause some serious damage to a player.
Next one from Kelly is high 1-2. And Carr swings through that one, high fastball, and he is retired the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and that's punch out number 5 for Ben Kelly and the Geneseo Blue Devils, and he's on track for 14 strikeouts tonight if he keeps going at the pace he's at right now. And with Troy Giverson, the number 9 hitter at the plate, imagine Ben Kelly's just going to keep attacking here.
Breaking ball gets the called corner strike. So 14 strikeouts for the game. That's some quick math there by my partner.
Well, that's assuming we don't go to extra innings.
Ball's hit on the ground out to Ledwith at second, and Fields fires over to Welsh, and Giverson is retired. And the first 2 are down here in the 3rd inning.
And now Vino comes back to the plate for Portville, and he struck out in his first at bat. I think we've seen a little bit of a trend here. We'll see if it continues, but Kelly struck out the first and 3rd outs of the inning, and the 2nd out has been put in play.
Breaking ball over from Kelly, the count 0-1.
And
Vino struck out looking back in that first inning.
That was an impressive breaking ball from Ben Kelly. That moved quite a bit, and it froze Vino.
Next one is fouled, going into the stands, and hits an empty bleacher out there.
And this is the single A field for the
Jamestown
Jammers of the Florida Marlins affiliate.
As Vino strikes out swinging this time, 6th punch out for Kelly in the ball game. He certainly looks to be rolling a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think his stuff has not been as good as it was last Wednesday in the Class C sectional finals against Red Jacket, but it's still really, really good. And he's overpowering hitters right now. And Portville, looking up at the scoreboard right now, you are the home team, so you get your last chance. You will be up at the plate, but down 4-0 against a guy where you've only managed to muster 1 hit so far. The frustration, I would imagine, is beginning to settle in for the Panthers.
Yeah, and certainly I think we get a little bit greedy talking about Ben Kelly when we see him on the mound and saying that maybe he doesn't have as good a stuff as he had against. It would be tough for him to duplicate that start against Red Jacket.
Very true. I think we're probably a little spoiled. That was an absolute gem that Ben Kelly threw last Wednesday against Red Jacket. And if you didn't catch the game, whether that was on tv.GeneseeSun.com or if you weren't attending the game is on YouTube actually. If you go on if you search Geneseo versus Red Jacket, I believe.
Yeah, and under Genesee Sun video, that's the channel that you'd be looking for. Find that on YouTube. The whole game is archived there. You can see Ben Kelly's great start. You can hear us talking about it.
Yeah, that's what people really want to hear. Yeah. And actually, the Minders state qualifier game is also up there as well as a couple other games. And that game was Geneseo. They played fantastic baseball that game. But Ben Kelly really just 18 strikeouts, and for those of you math majors, that allowed for 3 putouts with the ball going into the field, and that was one heck of a start for Ben Kelly, and he still has great stuff today. And I would say that Brad Marcellin, he's got some pretty good stuff today as well, but Geneseo hitters have been able to make some more contact.
So Marcellin's first one of the 4th inning is outside to Tony Belfiore. He's got a pair of singles and a run scored in this ball game already. We're only in the 4th inning. Next one, a little bit low. And you count 2-0.
And Belfiore has been a thorn per se in the side of Brad Marcellin with a couple of base hits and scoring a run.
Next one's a little bit low, 2-1.
And that pitch was a little bit closer than I expected. I was surprised he didn't get the call there, but he does on that next pitch. A little bit closer probably than the last pitch, but nonetheless, Marcellin evens up the count at 2-2, and this is a big pitch for him here. He needs to get that first out.
The 2-2 hangs a little bit And apparently that was 3-2.
Yeah. The
Scoreboard.
was incorrect there. The scoreboard had it at 2-2, a 2-2 count, but it is apparently it was a 3-2 count. So Belfiore trots down to first.
Either that or Belfiore has just ribbed the entire Portville team and headed down on the 3-pitch walk.
As well as the umpires.
So Belfiore aboard once again. He's been on base all 3 times in this game. This one via the walk. As Ryan LeGroux steps in, fouls that one in the Portville dugout. Count 0-1. LeGroux got aboard on a fielder's choice and scored a run in the first and had a sac fly RBI in the second. Next one, breaking ball, gets it over in the count 0-2.
Yeah, great breaking ball there from Marcellin. Really swung that into the zone, and now up in the count 0-2. Good chance here for Marcellin to get that first out.
Belfiore takes his lead from first, and LeGroux hits this one out to left field. That's Carr out in left field, and he puts the ball away for the first out of the inning.
Once again, that's a big first out, especially with Ben Kelly coming to the plate here. So you get a chance to see Kelly, possibly put the ball, in play. I mean, we've seen him do that quite a bit in these sectional playoffs.
Absolutely, Mr. Everything, as he hit by pitch and scored a run back in the first and singled in the second inning. Belfiore is going, takes off for second base, slides in, and he is out. A nice throw and a good tag as Zach Wood gunned one down there to get Belfiore.
Yeah, that's a big out, and I honestly think that Belfiore might have slid under the tag as Coach Nesbitt's going to go over there and give the third base umpire a little bit of love there and probably ask him how he called him out. But from our angle, it looked like that Belfiore might have slid under the tag. But nonetheless, a big out there for Brad Marcellin, and that will make Ben Kelly seem a little less dangerous.
Kelly hits that one right on a line to the third baseman, Vino, and the inning is over. So we're through 3.5. Blue Devils still lead it 4-0.
And that's the first zero that's the second consecutive zero that Brad Marcellin's been able to put up on the board. So that's huge, and he's giving his team a chance now to come back. He just needs the bats to get going.
So we got a little bit of a break in the action here. We'd like to thank our sponsors for today's game, the Village Tavern out in Geneseo, and Brad Williams, your local Edward Jones advisor in Avon. They are both the sponsors today for tv.GeneseeSun.com. And of course, like we've done the last few games, we will have our Village Tavern player of the game later in this one. Still looking at the numbers, still a little early in this one to be picking some top contenders for that one. But we thank our sponsors for being able to bring this one to you. Once again, Chris Graham alongside Joe Retigliano. We are in Jamestown, New York at Russell J. Dietrich Park, home of the Jamestown Jammers, the minor league affiliate of the Florida Marlins. And we got a lot of cool Marlins memorabilia up here in the press box.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I never knew that Jeremy Hermida, former ball player for the Marlins, played here. You also got Mike
Giancarlo Stanton, formerly Mike Stanton when he was here. When I came out for a ball game here a quite a few years ago, they were showing just some of the guys that had played with the Jammers, and even before they were an affiliate with the Marlins. Guys like Marquise Grissom, Randy Johnson have played down here, so
they were
some
the
big names.
They were the Expos affiliate before that. Now the Montreal Expos, they are now the Washington Nationals.
But if you know anything about the Expos during that late 80s and through the 90s there, they had incredible scouting and player development.
They've had some of the best players of this era come through their system.
Some of them played right here on this field, right on that mound. Ben Kelly's pitching on. A soon-to-be Hall of Famer and Randy Johnson also pitched on. As Kelly fires his next one of the 4th inning. It's inside. We'll count 1-1.
The Montreal Expos had a ton of great players that they couldn't hold on to.
I believe at one point they had Pedro Martinez, if I remember correctly.
Oh, absolutely. Pedro Martinez, Vladimir Guerrero. The list goes on.
Just to name a few.
And Ben Kelly there, if you're watching at home, he just couldn't quite bring the curveball down a little bit more on that 2-1 pitch. So now count is now 3-1 against the leadoff hitter Austin Swain.
So the 3-1 to Swain. Corner strike for Kelly. Count 3-2.
And that ball looked like he might have missed the outside corner a little bit, but Ben Kelly's been hitting his spots. And home plate umpire gave him the call there. So now it's even at 3-2.
3-2 is hit and fouled back. Out of play. How much can you see your catcher? Obviously, we know Valentine is just a sophomore. How much are you teaching them to frame the ball at this level?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think ever since Chuck Nesbitt took over in the 2010 season, that's been a pretty big key for the Geneseo catchers as Austin Swain draws ball 4 there. But Chuck Nesbitt did a great job, and as well as Nick Drolet, one of the assistants there, as well as Rick Vitimo, in really helping Xavier Copeland get a lot better at blocking balls. Xavier Copeland's a very talented catcher, as we all know, but also he became a lot better under Chuck Nesbitt and Nick Drolet, and you're seeing Corey Valentine in the early stages of just being a standout catcher in Livingston County.
So Swain walks down to first base. He's got a single also in this ball game, so he's actually been able to figure out Kelly a little bit as Zach Wood will step in. The catcher, the 3-hole hitter of this Panther lineup, struck out back in the first. Wood bunts that one right back to Kelly. Looks a little bit at second base, now fires over to Welsh at first and gets the out as Wood does a barrel roll tumble over the first baseline.
Yeah, and I would say that Kelly, typically when there's a bunt like that back to the pitcher tends to just go straight to first, but that bunt was bunted pretty hard, so Kelly almost had a shot at getting the lead runner at second, but good choice there to get the sure out, and that was at first. So now Portville comes to the plate with a runner in scoring position, the same runner it was back in the first. And for the second time in the game, we'll see if they can get something going.
Ball hit up the middle, fielded by Fatimo, throws over to Welsh. That's a nice pick by Welsh. He's able to hang on to the ball.
Wow. And he lost it a little bit there for a second, and Welsh did a great job of just recovering and grabbing the ball. All you have to do there is just, hold the ball as Coach Chuck Nesbitt's going out to the mound. He wants to talk to Ben Kelly, and you don't usually see that with the way Ben Kelly's been throwing. He is throwing on a little bit of short rest here. I'm not sure.
Well, certainly today is not like out in Canandaigua a few days ago when we had that game. You don't have to worry about the heat. Only about 62 degrees here in Jamestown. So certainly that isn't the issue, but maybe like you said, the short rest just wants to make sure that his pitcher is still strong.
Yeah. And the other thing, possibly is, Ben Kelly didn't fully recover, I would imagine, after his 7-inning gem against Red Jacket before the Minders game. So I wonder, if I'm Coach Chuck Nesbitt, if you get a couple more runs in the top of the 5th, maybe you bring in Ryan LeGrew or Blake Phelps. You never know here.
So with that ground out to short, Swain moved up to third. as Brett Marcellin fouls that one off, and quickly the count 0-2. And this would be a big run for Portville if they can get it.
Yeah, you got to get, I mean, if you can get a run on the board, it does volumes for your confidence, you know, as a team that's trailing. But really, I mean, if you can't get this run, it's going to seem like there's just absolutely no way that, you know, you can get by this pitcher.
0-2 hangs a little bit high, 1-2.
And Ben Kelly's done a great job right now of just, you know, putting himself in the position to get that third out.
That one is hit and fouled back. The count will hang at 1-2. So with the count hanging at 1-2, here's Kelly's next offering to Marcellin. A little bit outside, 2-2.
Yeah, that's a great pitch there by Kelly, just kind of keeping the ball a little bit outside and then making sure that Marcellin couldn't quite get around on it and put it in play. So great pitch there. Now he can come back and get the batter.
2-2 again high, 3-2. Kelly has only walked one in this ball game, and you would really have to go a long way back to find out the last time he walked the batter.
Certainly wasn't the sectional finals.
3-2. Inside corner fastball for the strikeout. Ben Kelly picks up his 7th punch out of the ball game, and a big punch out there. Portville had a runner at third.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly what Geneseo needed right there. They needed to get that out. Because now, you know, you put a couple more runs on the board. If it's, you know, if they get 2 more, it's 6-0, and he can maybe, you know, I'm not sure, you know, if Chuck Nesbitt really does trust anyone else other than Ben Kelly. You know, being sarcastic a little bit there, but you know, then there's some more room to bring in a guy like Ryan LeGrew or Blake Phelps, or not really sure if there is anyone else that.
Well, you have Ledwith obviously pitched during the regular season, as did Devin Welsh, but certainly your first 2 options would most likely be LeGrew, who I don't believe we've seen in these playoffs, and then Phelps, who we saw pitch against Minders and throw a very good start.
Yeah, he did have a great start, and that's I mean, that kind of, I mean, I think that for him is going to do a lot for his confidence. You know, just going on, you know, he's probably, if Geneseo were to win, they're going to have to win and then play this weekend. So you'd imagine that Blake Phelps is going to be on the bump at some point if Geneseo were to advance. So maybe a couple innings here will continue to boost his confidence.
So we just found out the Jammers, who we were talking about, this is their home stadium here in Jamestown. They are now actually an affiliate with the Pittsburgh Pirates, formerly now an affiliate with the Florida Marlins.
Right, and the Batavia Muck Dogs are now with the Florida Marlins.
Who we had their game, obviously, when we had the Class C2 sectional final. They obviously at one point were a minor league affiliate of the Phillies, because a lot of Phillies memorabilia hanging up there, pictures of Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, so certainly they had played at that field at one point. But a correction that from earlier, that Jamestown is now the affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are off to a very good start this year in the NL Central.
Yeah,
and I know that because I have Andrew McCutcheon on my fantasy team.
Well, the one thing you hope for if you're a Pirates fan, you know, the whole way is just stay healthy and stay hot. You know, we've seen over the past couple of years the Pirates have been unable to stay healthy and stay hot late in the season, and you know, they're a team that's been in the cellar for a long time now.
Flint fouls that one right under us here in the press box. I got a funny story to tell about the Pirates. I was up there for their last series of the year last year. They were playing the Atlanta Braves to go see Chipper Jones's last games in the major leagues before he retired. Obviously, Atlanta played in the playoffs with his last regular season games. And I was coming out of PNC Park, and there was a guy that had a customized jersey, and the back of the name said, "Please God," with the number 81 and 81, obviously referencing the Pirates having a 500 season. They have not had one believe now in 18 or 19 years, I think the number's gotten up to, is that's a fly ball from Flint fielded out there by Carr in left field, and Flint is retired. I think it's up to 18.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And a great job there by Granger Flint getting a nice pitch to hit. He just got under it just a little bit. That ball is kind of sat out there in left for Alex Carr, the left fielder. But as we've seen from Geneseo, really they've done a nice job so far of getting runners on base, and we'll see if they can continue to do that here in the top of the fifth.
Another good breaking ball from Marcel, and that one over to Devin Welsh for a strike. Welsh has walked and struck out in the ball game. The 0-1 from Marcellin. On the outside corner and the outside edge of the outside corner.
That was from our angle. That was pretty close to getting the ball, and Marcellin didn't get that call a little bit earlier, so he gets it here. And we always like to see a makeup call here or there.
This one is popped straight up. First baseman and catcher. Catcher calling for it, and he'll make the catch. That's Zach Wood. And quickly 2 outs here in the top of the fifth.
And we have yet to see Marcellin retire Geneseo in order 1, 2, 3 in an inning. So a chance here with Trevor Mothersell coming to the plate to get that 1, 2, 3 inning, but he is a tough out.
Mothersell hits this one. First baseman coming in, slides, and makes the catch. That's a great play by Josh Watson, sliding near the Portville dugout to make that catch and retire Mothersell. And a quick inning for Portville, but what a play there from Watson.
Yeah, that's a huge play, great defensive play, and if you can hear him, the Portville fan section really got up for that one. They really appreciated that. So big out there, and now Portville's got their 1, 2, 3 inning under their belt, maybe a little more confidence. If they can just get something going offensively, there's a shot for them to come back. They're only down 4-0 to Geneseo right now. However, it's right now it's a little bit, you got to be counting your outs here. You got 9 left. And if Ben Kelly throws the full 7, you got to imagine that he's going to be tough to break.
Yeah, certainly. He, like we said, maybe not as good a stuff as he had in the sectional game against Red Jacket, but certainly he's coming off 18 strikeouts in that ball game, and then he came in and finished off the last 2 innings of the Minders game, picking up 4 strikeouts there. So certainly, eventually that's going to catch up with your arm a little bit, but certainly if you're looking out at that scoreboard, he's only allowed 1 hit, so he has been as on can be once again. Certainly Chuck Nesbitt and the entire coaching staff here with Geneseo has full confidence in Ben Kelly. Would not be surprised if he got the complete 7 once again.
Yeah, I think if you're Geneseo and maybe you put a couple more insurance runs in these next 2 innings, I think you take Ben Kelly out. You got to make sure that he's all rested up if you're going to win this ball game. If not, he's your best guy. You need to go to him. I'd say that you leave him in, but with an eye on this weekend, with a lead like this late in the game, you got to think possibly, he's thrown quite a few innings in the last couple of weeks. You might want to give his arm a little bit of a rest.
First one hangs inside to Brandon Unica, who grounded out to second back in the 2nd inning. This one is hit out to center field. Jimmy Root has a play on it, and he makes it for the first out of the inning.
I actually think that they've made a defensive change, Chris. And that looks like Tony Belfiore in center, and Jimmy Root has been taken out of the game. It looks like the left fielder is Jake Clare, and
yeah, that's definitely Clare now out in left field. But that does look like
Tony Belfiore has been moved to center.
That's still Mothersell out and right. So it does appear that Jimmy Root has been taken out of this game.
And that was the hardest ball we've seen hit today from Portville. That ball was absolutely tattooed in the center, but the outfielders have to play so deep that ball was hit right to Tony Belfiore.
Cameron Miller fouls that one off the press box. It'll bounce back into the field of play as Valentine throws it back to Kelly.
Yeah, and that ball shook the press box when it hit it, so, you know, makes you feel a little,
How close do you think we were to the Flint ball? I say,
I'd say, yeah, it was pretty close.
Ball hit on the ground past third baseman LeGroux, who was in a little bit, fielded out in left field by Claire, and Cameron Miller, the designated hitter, is aboard with a base hit.
And another guy who's capable of pitching, though we haven't seen him pitch in a while, is Jake Claire. He's now in the ball game.
So here's Alex Carr, one of Ben Kelly's 7 strikeout victims in this ball game, as Kelly punched him out in the 3rd inning.
And you can see on your screen at home that Ryan LeGroux is playing really far in, expecting the bunt here. And Carr's going to show, but he's going to pull it back.
Pulls it back, runner takes off for second. Fatimo drops the ball out at shortstop, so Miller is in safely with a stolen base.
Yeah, and a tough play there for Fatimo out there at short. It's not really. I don't think they're going to rule that an error on Geneseo by any means. That ball was just. That
was going to be a bang play either way.
Right, and I think that is that Miller or is that Carr?
That's Miller.
Miller, yeah, Miller. I think that Miller was going to get in there, and I think when he slid in, he might have knocked the ball out of there a little bit.
Carr fouls the next bunt back on count 1-2.
I wouldn't be surprised to see possibly another attempt at a bunt here. If you can get it down, it's like going for it on 4th down if you're a football player.
Swings away and swings through. And Ben Kelly picks up the strikeout. He strikes out Carr for the 2nd time in this ball game.
And now with Troy Giberson at the plate. I mean, not 2 outs now in the inning. I don't expect to see a bunt here, but you never know.
Giberson grounded out to second back in the 3rd, takes the first offering from Kelly high for a ball 1-0.
And with Geneseo up 4-0 here, it's really important that Portville can get a run here. A big base hit with 2 outs would really help them out.
Next one's a little bit high, 2-0.
And the count right now in Giberson's favor. Ben Kelly needs to make a good pitch here to avoid putting him on base.
Makes a good pitch, a breaking ball over for a strike, and a count 2-1.
What really sets Kelly apart from most pitchers is that he has the confidence when he's down in a count 2-0 or 3-0. He's willing to go to his breaking ball to get that first strike, which you don't see a lot at this level.
2-1, Kelly earns the outside edge of the outside corner for a strike, and a count 2-2.
And it's similar to the pitch we saw home plate umpire give Brad Marcellin.
As long as it's consistent.
Brad Marcellin, yeah. As long as it's consistent, I'm sure that's all the coaches care about.
The 2-2 from Kelly, a little bit high, 3-2. Maybe the 2nd or 3rd 3-ball count we've seen from him in this game. He has walked a batter in this one.
I think this is the 3rd one, and he's got a walk and a strikeout in 3-ball count. So we'll see. That's a good move there by Giberson to call time at home plate.
I think he might have got something in his eye, or at least that's what he's telling the umpire.
I used to do that all the time. You say you got something in your eye, try and throw off the pitcher's momentum. It's a gamesmanship. It's a gamesman move, and see if it plays to his advantage.
He fouls that one back, and the count will hang at 3-2.
Giberson, he seems like he's a pretty tough out right now, so we'll see if we'll see who wins this battle.
Hangs inside, and Giberson will walk on down to first. 2nd walk issued by Kelly in the ballgame.
And right there, I think Kelly spent a little bit too much time checking out second base there. really the runner there, Cameron Miller, the designated hitter, I was kind of surprised that he looked at him for as long as he did. He just needed one more strike to get out of the inning. Nonetheless, you got Tyler Vino will not bat, and it'll be number 7, Tyler Long, to come to the plate. And home plate umpire is going to stop the game here, and there's going to be a plate umpire and the head coach for Portville are going to talk about this, and they're going to, home plate umpire has to write down on his lineup card who comes in for who.
Just as we do up here in the booth, so we can keep track of it, obviously. So we would guess that Long would take over at third base for Vino, and that would be the straight substitution.
Yep, and right now I think this is a good move. We don't know what kind of a hitter Tyler Long is, but Portville's down 4-0, and Geneseo has played solid defense, and right now with 2 down, a base hit here could possibly score a run, extra base hit, maybe 2, and cut the lead in half for Geneseo.
Long swings through that one, 0-1. Certainly Vino didn't have any success against Kelly. Struck out looking in the first and struck out swinging in the third. So maybe that was a little bit of the change as well. Give Kelly a different look. Next one, Long swings through it again, 0-2.
And one of the disadvantages as a pinch hitter, really, at this level, especially if you haven't seen the pitcher before, you've watched the pitcher throw for four innings, really. And although that's an advantage, you kind of see what's going on. You never really know what pitches look like until you're right up there.
Long fouls that one off, count 1-2, or excuse me, hangs it 0-2.
And right there, we saw with Long in the first 2 pitches, he was kind of overmatched and behind Ben Kelly's fastball, and now it looks like he's kind of zoned it up a little bit, and we'll see if Ben Kelly gives him a pitch to hit here.
The 0-2, did he go around? Did he appeal down to first base? First base umpire says that he held up, and count 1-2.
And I'll tell you what, Portville just got a huge break there, because we saw last night in the UNC Florida Atlantic Regional in college baseball a check swing that was held back even further than that one was called for a strike, so big break for Portville.
1-2, Kelly, gas fastball there, and the inning is over. We're through 5 full. Blue Devils lead it 4-0.
Yeah, and right now I think, in the huddle for Geneseo, Coach Chuck Nesbitt is going to be saying to his players, get some more runs. 4 is not enough. And, if you get a couple of runs here for Geneseo, who leads 4-0, coming to bat here in the top of the 6th, you get a couple of more runs, you're really in the driver's seat, and maybe you don't have to use Ben Kelly for the full 7. We know, he may not be 100% for this weekend if Geneseo advances, but you can be sure that there's a possibility that he will be.
Absolutely, but he's looked pretty strong here. He picked up his 8th strikeout to end the 5th inning. 4-0 ball game here in Jamestown at Russell J. Dietrich Stadium. So we bring this one to you on tv.GeneseeSun.com. We hope you have enjoyed it so far. Chris Graham alongside Joe Rutigliano. Once again, the Blue Devils are looking very good in this game early with the 4-0 lead. They got a 2-run single in the first inning from Trevor Mothersell, and then got a pair of RBIs in the second inning from Ryan LeGroux and Granger Flint. That's how they have scored their 4 runs in this ball game. And Ben Kelly, the starter for the Blue Devils, has been everything that Blue Devil fans have come to expect from him over the last few starts and, well, basically over his entire career. He's struck out 8, he's only allowed 2 hits and no runs on the board for the Portville Panthers. As Brett Marcerin will stay in this game for Portville as he gets ready to begin the top of the 6th inning. And it will be Jake Clare, who came in for Jimmy Rude, leading off the inning. So here's Clark for his first at bat of this ball game. As we said, came in and played for Root. First one is in for a strike from Marcerin, count 0-1. Next one from Marcerin, hits the outside corner and the count 0-2. The 0-2 offering, Clare swings through it, ball gets away from the catcher, throws down to first, and Clare is retired. So with one out, the catcher, Corey Valentine, will step in. A pair of pop-outs for Valentine in this ball game. Popped out to second in the second, and popped out to first in the third. As the Blue Devils are looking for a little bit of production out of their bottom half of the order before they roll it back over to the top, where they've had plenty of success today. So in steps Valentine, and the first one from Marcelin is a called strike, breaking ball, 0-1. The 0-1 to Valentine is hit on the ground down to first. First baseman will take it himself. That's Watson, Josh Watson. With 3 unassisted on the play, and Valentine is retired. And 2 outs to start the top of the 6th. So here's the second baseman, Sean Ledwith. Got on an error and scored a run in the second inning, and singled back in the first. Swings through that Marcelin offering, 0-1. That one hit out into left center field. Left fielder Alex Carr is going to step in front of the center fielder and make the play. So another 1-2-3 inning from Marcelin. Blue Devils still lead this one 4-0.
Yeah, and right there we saw Marcelin really settle in and get another 1-2-3 inning. He's put up 4 straight goose eggs on the scoreboard in Geneseo, and right now, you know, he's without those first 2 innings, Marcelin's pitched just as well as Ben Kelly, who's put up 5 straight goose eggs on the scoreboard as well. So we'll have to see the rest of the way, but right now it looks pretty good in Geneseo's favor. If they can get 3 outs quickly here in the bottom half of the 6th, right now things could get a little. Things look a little bit better for Geneseo in the long run.
For those back in Livingston County, or maybe more specifically Geneseo, wondering a little something about the Portville Panthers, they're about 20-30 minutes away outside of Olean, and more specifically, Joe, they're 20 or 30 minutes away from the best college in the world, St. Bonaventure.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I know I'm an hour away from the best college on the planet, so, yeah. And, you know, those Bonaventure Bonnies, shall I bring up Canisius College's domination over the Bonaventure Bonnies this year. Maybe
They certainly were able to get him in basketball this year. Got a lot easier for the Griffs. They were able to get a very good coach in there in Jim Barron, coming from Rhode Island, but also Jim Barron, a Bonnies guy as well, as he was a coach there for the Bonnies. But no, the Griffs had a very good year. Same really can't be said about the Bonnies, as they did not make the A10 tournament after winning the A10 tournament and advancing into the NCAA tournament last year. But I saw a couple of Portville fans on their side with some Nicholson T-shirts. So certainly right down there near St. Bonaventure, it's always good to see some good Bonnies merchandise in the stands when you're away from the area. Kelly's ready to start the sixth inning. First one is outside for a ball, 1-0. Yeah, and with that little 3 rivalry, it's amazing that we haven't gotten into any fights here in the booth.
Well, I mean, we appreciate Geneseo baseball.
We have a common joy of calling the Geneseo games here. They have been very good all season long. A very senior laden team, and they are playing like they don't want their baseball lives to end.
You know, which is interesting, because I know most of the seniors on this team are slated to go on a senior trip later this week. I believe they leave Wednesday or Thursday, so they're playing to throw their money away. Maybe hopefully they get a refund, but they're playing to really continue that baseball tradition here at Geneseo.
So the 2-2s, and Swain hits that one out to left field. Left fielder Claire is there and puts the ball away for the first out of the inning. That's the first time Swain's been retired in this ball game. He had singled and walked previously.
Yeah, and that's the benefit really for Ben Kelly, is if you can get the guy out that's really giving you the hardest time all game long, that gives you great confidence and great momentum going into the next batter, Zach Wood, who's had some success against. So you gotta keep in mind that Ben Kelly's firing right now.
So here's Wood. He struck out in the first and grounded back to Kelly in the fourth inning. Kelly gets ahead of him here, 0-1.
And Ben Kelly's command has been just superb this whole game.
0-1 is hit out. Ledwith making the call for it. Now Mothersell coming in. Ledwith still calling for it and puts it away in short right field for the second out of the inning.
And one of the benefits here of getting that big second out is, obviously everything after a sectional title is icing on the cake, because that ball is going to fall just behind us on the foul ball. But everything after a sectional title is icing on the cake, and there isn't as much anxiety, I'd say, as you hit the later innings. And this team just looks cool and composed, and they're only 4 outs away from
Field down to first. Says he held it up. Count is 1-1. Yeah, and they really seem like a bunch of guys that are not affected by where they are. Like we were talking about, this is as far as the Geneseo club has gotten in quite a few years. And they just seem very cool, calm, and collected, and a confident group. And not arrogantly confident, just confident in their abilities to go out there and win a ball game. Next one is a little bit outside, 3-1.
I'll tell you what, this inning, Ben Kelly has not gotten the calls he's been getting for the last couple of innings here, and it's kind of disappointing if you're a Geneseo fan, but Portville definitely needs every call they can handle.
That one is outside for a ball, so the third walk of the ball game for Kelly.
And you don't see that very often. He doesn't walk a lot of guys as the opposing pitcher. Brett Marcellin will step into the batter's box here. And with 2 outs, Kelly's been able to get a couple of strikeouts on Marcellin earlier on in this ball game, so I'm sure he's not concerned about that runner at first, but anytime you can get the third out, it's just huge for momentum and confidence throughout throughout the team.
Once again, we thank everybody for watching this one on tv.GeneseeSun.com. Be sure to like this and share it on Facebook, Twitter, any social media that you got. We appreciate it. The next one from Kelly, hit on the ground, down to Devin Welsh. He'll play the ball, 3 unassisted, and the inning is over. And after 6 full here in Jamestown, Blue Devils are well in control, leading 4-0.
Yep, and Geneseo is just 3 outs away from, you know, that state tournament trip that they've been dreaming for and, you know, working for all year. And right now, you know, in that huddle, the confidence level has to be through the roof. They've done everything right. They've only allowed 2 hits. You know, we know Ben Kelly's walked 3 guys, but you know, I don't attribute that to him not having his best stuff. He still had great stuff today, but.
And I would say now through 6 full, he's probably our #1 contender once again for player of the game. I think a guy like Trevor Mothersell's giving him a decent run for it with the 2 runs.
Tony Belfiore as well.
As well.
A couple base hits.
But Ben Kelly throwing a 2-hitter right now.
And it doesn't even,
strikeouts.
you know, it doesn't even seem like he's really throwing a 2-hitter. You know, he's been subtly dominant. You know, the other night when we were, I'm sorry, not the other night, last Wednesday when we were at Dwyer Stadium in Batavia, and Geneseo took on Red Jacket, you know, that was complete dominance. You know, everyone was aware in that ballpark that Ben Kelly was in command and dominating the Red Jacket lineup with his 18 strikeouts. And tonight, you know, today not as many strikeouts. It doesn't seem like he's as dominant, but he is. He's only allowed 2 hits. He hasn't allowed a run, and what more can you ask for from out of your senior right-hander?
There's a lot of things I've liked about this start of Kelly, and I'll get into him as Marcellin continues his warm-up pitches for the top of the 7th. You know, in the last start, you could arguably say that Kelly was just throwing. He was just throwing the ball, got past guys, picked up the 18 strikeouts. In today's game, I feel like he's more been a pitcher. He's used the defense behind him. He's struck out guys when he's needed to. But certainly, you know, as a pitcher, even as dominant as Ben's been all year, you're not going to be able to strike out every single hitter. I know he narrowly did it against Red Jacket, but you're not going to be able to do that every single time out. So seeing him use the defense behind him today, just showing just another facet of his game as a senior right-hander.
Yeah, you know, one of those things with Kelly is that he's just been able to, you know, play his game, and nothing's really throwing him off. As we get the umpire giving me that is the Portville dugout and sideline over there. I think that they're probably giving the umpire a little bit of flack, but Tony Belfiore steps into the batter's box, and the man's already got on 3 times today.
They haven't gotten him out yet. A single in the first, a single in the second with a run scored and a walk. So 2 for 2 with that base on ball as well. So he has been on every single time. Been a big catalyst to their 4-0 lead so far. Marcellin's next offering is hit on the ground. Down the third base line. It's a fair ball, and Belfiore will hold up at first base. Kind of lost that one going down the line, and Belfiore now 3 for 3.
That ball was hit right over the bag and stayed in fair play, and that was a rip by Tony Belfiore. He absolutely smoked that ball down the line, and he's held to a single. But that's the 4th time he's been on base.
We might have
We might have
Koa.
I think we might have to.
I mean,
We'll see how the rest of the
inning goes along. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how the rest of the inning goes along. But now stepping in, you got Ryan LeGroux for Geneseo, and with a 4-0 lead, any help here would be great moving the runners along. I wouldn't be surprised if he squares the bunt. Chuck Nesbitt loves the bunt, but we'll see if he continues it here.
LeGroux swings away. That one is going to be caught out by the shortstop.
And that was Justice Elliott
making the play. He shaded a little bit into short center field to make that catch, so LeGroux is retired.
And LeGroux put the bat on the ball, and that ball, he just got under it just a little bit too much there. And, you know, obviously it's a big first out for Portville, and with Ben Kelly coming up, you can never have too many outs with Ben Kelly coming to the plate, or Granger Flint, or Trevor Mothersell, Tony Belfiore, you know, if you got 2 outs when those guys come up, it makes it seem like they're an easier out despite their difficulty at the plate.
Next one is is it over the plate for a strike? Count 1-1. First one was outside to Kelly. So a 1-1 count as Belfiore takes his lead from first base. Kelly swings through that one, 1-2.
Yeah, and he wanted that one. That was a breaking ball. Just kind of hung up in the zone a little bit, and from the left-hander, that pitch comes in towards the righty a little bit more than I think Ben Kelly was expecting, and Kelly took a nice hack at it. If that's a right-handed pitcher, that ball goes out over the plate a little bit more, and that's probably ripped.
Next one, Kelly swings through it. Catcher is able to hang on, so Kelly strikes out.
And with Granger Flint coming to the plate, Flint's hit the ball hard a couple of times here tonight. Hasn't quite been able to get on base for him, though. I think he's flied out a couple of times, so we'll see if Flint can shake out of it here.
He does have an RBI in this ball game, and he's going to give a base hit here as he's able to get a single with Duncan. Had a single and an RBI back in the second inning, but had flown out to left in his previous at bat. He's able to pick up a single here, so 2 men aboard for Devin Welsh.
Yeah, and that ball was hit really hard on a rope into left center field, and center fielder Austin Wayne was able to come up and make a solid play on the ball and not let the ball get behind him. And now the Devils threatening once again with 2 outs.
2 outs, and runner takes off for third, and he's going to be in there safely. So Belfiore takes third base. Certainly a risk you can take when you're up 4-0.
Yeah, and with Devin Welch at the plate, he makes contact quite a bit, so a chance for Welch to drive in another insurance run. I know 4 is still quite a bit of a lead with Ben Kelly on the mound, but it can never hurt to get another base hit and another run on the board.
Next one, Welch swings through it, count 0-2. So Belfiore makes up for his caught stealing by picking up a steal of third. Next one nearly hit Welsh. A little bit of a spin out of the way.
Yeah, a little bit of a dance move there by Devin Welch to get out of the way. So, he's a 1-2 count. Marcellin desperately needs to get out of this inning without allowing another run.
1-2, Welsh fouls it back.
And with Trevor Mothersell on deck, I'm sure he's a tough out as well. You'd really just like to get out of this inning as soon as possible.
1-2, breaking ball, a little bit low, 2-2.
Maybe if you're Portville, a great defensive play, maybe a diving catch or a nice strikeout or something, really to just get some momentum going your way would really help going into the bottom of the 7th.
Welch swings through that one. So the Geneseo rally goes for naught as Welsh is punched out. And Marcellin has had a good start here today, but he is on the hook for the loss. It's the last call for the Portville Panthers. After 6.5, Geneseo leads it 4-0.
Yep, and as Geneseo takes the field, they are 3 outs away from being the best team probably in school history here, going to the state tournament. And just the way this team's played over the last 5 or 6 games that I've been able to call the games with you, and we've been on the dugouts at Geneseo. We've been amongst the masses as well, and there have been times when I'm sure most Geneseo fans didn't think this team was going to even win sectionals, and maybe we'll say the York quarterfinal game.
Yeah, if we look back to that one, trailing 3-1 going to the 7th, and the way that Tyler Schutz was throwing the ball, it did not look good for the Blue Devils. They were able to get 3 runs and win that ball game, and since then it's been a very good ride for the Blue Devils, as they are now only 3 outs away from states.
Yeah, this is a special thing, for Geneseo, and Even in the Cuba Rushford game in the semis, you know, they were trailing in that game until about the 6th inning as well. I believe Kelly got the win actually in that game as well. So Kelly's picked up 3 of the 4 wins. So he's been 3 of the 4 wins that Geneseo's had to this point. He's on the hook for a W here, so he can close this one out.
It is the right fielder Brandon Munica to lead it off. That one is fouled. Valentine looking for a play on it and runs out of room as it dunks in right in front of a little bit of a fence there. So the count 0-1 to Munica.
And today Munica
has grounded out to second and flown out to center. So 0 out of 2.
And I'm sure he's hoping that he can put the bat on the ball. He hit the ball pretty hard to center. So we'll see if he can get some going here.
Next one is called strike. We'll count 0-2. Next one thrown in the dirt, blocked by Valentine. The count 1-2.
Yeah, and a good waste pitch there from Kelly. He threw that pitch out of the zone, trying to get Munica to chase, but couldn't quite get it. But now he's got a chance to go right at him here.
1-2 is hit on the ground. That ball's going foul. Would have been a difficult play for everybody that was running in on that one. LeGroux, Kelly, and Valentine. And luckily for the Blue Devils, it rolls foul. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Yeah, that's probably a swinging bunt base hit there for Brandon Munica, and if Munica could get on base here early on, that would be huge for Portville just to get a base runner. But he's still in a hole here, 1-2. He's going to have to fight.
Late call of time. Kelly had went into his rotation and threw the pitch. But Munica is granted time.
And I don't think Ben Kelly likes that, because that was strike 3 right there. It was a great pitch from Kelly, so let's see if he can replicate it right here.
And the 1-2 from Kelly. A little bit inside, 2-2.
See how much that
Messes
calling
with the
time. I'm telling you, it messes with the rhythm of the pitcher. And now Kelly's
now taking a little bit.
Kelly's taking his own time now. Yeah. See, he knows how to play these mind games.
The 2-2 from Kelly, fouled off the press box.
That was about 5 feet from us, so
Getting a little bit closer.
Hopefully this game ends in 7, so we don't have the batters are finally figuring out where we're sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing a little bit better of a job of putting the ball towards us.
They're seeing the tripod and they're like, yeah, let's take a couple shots at that.
$100 on the bench probably.
Once fouled back. Count hangs at 2-2.
Yeah, Munica there got a little bit ahead of that pitch, thought it was going to be a little bit more in the zone than it was, and the ball kind of crept up on his hands there, and he fouled it off.
And 2-2 is in the dirt, 3-2.
Big pitch here for Ben Kelly. You don't want to allow the first runner on base in this situation. It's not a good start to the closing inning here.
3-2 from Kelly. Fouled over the first base side on a play.
Even if Munica doesn't get on right now for Portville, he's done a great job in this at bat just to make this at bat go as long as possible, and
force Ben Kelly to throw more than a few pitches.
I think he's actually up to 7 or 8 right here. So if Kelly can still get the out, that's great. But you can tell he's probably tired.
One is fouled straight back, out of play.
And once again, another foul ball. I wonder, the thing here is, Kelly hasn't been able to go to the breaking ball and throw it in the zone. So does he continue with the fastball and try and gas up Munica?
Full count offering again. Ball is hit on the ground and going foul. And like you said, a very good leadoff at bat here for Munica to start the 7th.
If Munica can win this battle and get a base hit, I think that's going to be a huge thing for Portville's confidence.
Ball is hit on the ground off of Kelly's foot, right to Fatimo and over to Welsh. as they get the first out of the inning. I'm not sure if that grazed Kelly or if he was able to get his leg out of the way at the last second, but that ball bounced straight to Fatimo.
That's probably a great play by Ben Kelly, not to try and knock it down or anything. He just lets that ball skip by, and Jake Fatimo's been shading towards up the middle most of the game, so that ball played right to his strength. He got over there in a hurry and had plenty of time to make the throw over to Devin Welch at first base.
Cameron Miller now the hitter. He has struck out and singled in the ballgame.
And right now, if you're Cameron Miller in Portville, you just need a base runner. A base runner can make this a whole different ball game, even with Ben Kelly on the mound.
The 1-0 offering in for a strike, 1-1.
He painted that corner. That was a great pitch from Kelly to bounce back. And this is the pitch right here for Miller. You can't let Ben Kelly throw a strike without you getting a piece on it.
1-1 is hit out into center field. Belfiore coming on and makes the catch. And 2 outs. And now the Blue Devils just 1 out away from States.
And up to the plate will be Alex Carr, the left fielder for Portville. And there's 2 outs here. And it doesn't get any better than this.
Carr has struck out 2 times in this ball game, and Kelly's first one to him here in the bottom of the 7th is a strike 0-1.
I know you said, doesn't get any better than this quite a bit, but as that one will get down behind us. But right here, chance to go to States on the line. And Kelly is 1 strike away from the big one.
So the 0-2 offering from Kelly. Ball, 3rd strike, and on to States for the Geneseo Blue Devils. They win this one 4-0 behind just another good start from Ben Kelly.
Yeah, and that was an incredible game from Ben Kelly and the Blue Devils, and just one of the better moments here for Geneseo is getting that strikeout, and what a better way to end really if you're Geneseo, and getting that strikeout, and just a phenomenal season that will continue here. And you look down at the Blue Devils, and Ben Kelly's still got a little bit of fire in him. After the amount of innings he's thrown over the past couple of weeks, I'm surprised he's not exhausted.
Absolutely, he certainly didn't look exhausted in this 7th inning, as he was able to pick up the victory, go the complete game, get the complete game shutout. As we finish off here, let's hand out our Village Tavern Player of the Game. We'll split it.
Yeah, I think we should do it.
Between the starting pitcher, Ben Kelly, who throws a complete game shutout, allowing just 2 hits and striking out 9, and the leadoff man, the left fielder for the Blue Devils, Tony Belfiore, going 3 for 3 with a stolen base, a run scored, and a walk. Certainly one of the initiators for this offense today. Both of them will be our co-players of the game, brought to you by the Village Tavern in Geneseo. A couple of good choices, I believe.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. And can we expect that we're going to make it down to States?
Oh, absolutely. We will be there, and we will continue to bring you this ball club as they keep winning. We thank you once again for tuning in to tv.GeneseeSun.com. By a 4-0 win, a shutout, the Blue Devils are heading on to States. For my partner, the former shortstop at Geneseo, Joe Retigliano, I'm Chris Graham. Good night from Jamestown.
Class C champions for 2013, their championship plaque. And a representative of her grade from Central Plaque, Geneseo. The Blue Devils are now